Okay, so you know that job that you need to do and you put off doing it. Today's the day that I'm going to tackle my tarot shelves. So there are 25 cubes, and when I got this unit, it was ideal, and you know, it still is ideal. But what started off really nice, kind of organised cubes, like this is my Il Meneghello cube, and down here is my Deviant Moon cube, all really nicely organised, then ends up like this or like this, where I get a new deck, I've got nowhere to fit it, so it just kind of balances there. These little ornaments that filled gaps are kind of being squeezed out of their spaces and need just to come off. These boxes, I love these boxes. And you know, having 5 in a line, I'll probably keep them, but I need to make sure all of these cubicles, they can breathe. And the lower down you get, the more messier they get, especially down there. They're just kind of shoved in. So I need to give them space. I need to organize them better. And the only way I can do that is across the top, I've got, you know, trinklements, ornaments, and this old, I love all these kind of, these are candle holders really, but they're all different kind of cups and jars, and but I never liked them. Skelly's up there overseeing them all, and then I've just got candles and these kind of figures, these ornaments. So I think they're all going to come down, and across the top I will put kind of like the larger boxes, like the Llewellyn type boxes, and just have a bit of a get out the duster and have a bit of a play and remove some of these odd little random stones. Oh, there's my Ness from when I went to Scotland. That's actually got a crystal inside it. But anyway, I could end up going down a rabbit hole here. All of these little things have crystals and stuff inside them. There's another one hiding just there, look. So ignore that noise in the background, that's the washer. It's Saturday. Why am I doing this today? I have no time tomorrow. I'm over at my parents' tomorrow. Even though today is Cup of Ketchup and Cards Day. That will be interesting if I haven't finished it in time, what that will look like from behind. And I've also got to go out and do some shopping. That washing machine is my laundry that I do every Saturday morning. But I can't bear it anymore, so off I go. Okay, so for now, I think I'm going to leave. They can hide at the back. Oh, let's hide at the back. I don't mean that, but that's my Connected and Free 1 and 2 and Lumina Tarot. So, yeah, I'll think about them. But for now, I think I'm going to leave Skelly there. Now comes the dusting part, because that's really high up. I'm 6'4" and I'm looking up at that. I don't use polish, so I'm going to be using some Florida water to give this a good wipe down. I can hardly see what I'm looking at. So my deck collection, I needed this unit. It's from IKEA, for those of you, I can say those of you in the UK, but you know, IKEA is pretty much international, I think, so everybody should know it. But I don't know, Kelly Fitz has a black unit like this in the same sort of style that's from IKEA. and they're really sturdy. They are really, really sturdy units. And this now, you know, is housing 552, I think, at last count, tarot decks. So I put these lights in myself. You know, you don't have to, they don't come with lights. You can put in whatever you want. So I just put them in myself, the battery operated. But yeah, I'm at that point where I'm running out of space. And if I'm going to keep all of the decks that I've got, which are pretty much, with the exception of the odd one or two, I love all the decks that I've got, then I need to create more space. Okay, so that's nice and clean. It smells gorgeous because the Florida water really does make it smell beautiful, and it's less harmful, you know, less chemically. So that's done and ready for the big boxes. So to start off with, I'm going to want, without having to get like book edgings or anything, because this is on the edge, I'm going to want a deck that's pretty solid and can stand up by itself. So I'm starting off with my, even though these aren't in a set or anything like that, I kind of club these together anyway. So Witch's Tarot, Wizard's Tarot, Green Witch and Everyday Witch. And then I've got the Glastonbury Tarot and the Lost Code. So yeah, these are pretty sturdy. Even if this unit was to be bashed, they're pretty sturdy. They're not going to topple over, fall off or land on something precious below, like my goddess, or break that. So it's got to be decks that can stand up. I do have a couple of bookends, crystal agate bookends that I could put there just for protection, but I'm pretty sure, as long as I make sure as I'm going across, that they're all sturdy. Look at that little cheeky decks beeping in the background that are hidden. Cheeky little ones that have fallen over. Drop down. Hiding behind others. Crying to be freed. Okay, so top shelf is done. It's had little impact other than devastation. Because these are the decks that, these are the decks that have come out of the way, as in was in front of the bigger boxes that were perhaps at the back, there and there. It's made a little bit of space there, and that's the only cubby hole so far where my business cards are that has been freed. These are my tinned ones, they're absolutely fine. They can all stay, as can them. The RWS one needs a really good clear out because that's just all different types of RWS decks. And then I just need to free some space. So let's see what we've got across the top. We've got, as I mentioned, the Witch's Tarot and the Wizard's Tarot, the Green Witch and Everyday Witch. And then we go from witches to fairies. We have the Mystic Fairy Tarot, Linda Ravenscroft's deck, Manga Tarot, and then we have the Buddha Tarot, Llewellyn, Tarot in Wonderland, the Lost Code, Glastonbury. I'd got 2 copies of Poppy's deck, but having them both together looked a bit strange. So I've put one away, Cosmic Tribe, but then I do have 2 Beautiful Creatures, but they are different editions. It's first edition and second edition Beautiful Creatures. Then the Golden Tarot, and then to kind of hide the box, Skelly is right in the middle. I just put my Indie Light Seers because it's kind of that shape. Sorry, I'm casting the shadows because the window is behind me. Shadowlands also, I've got 2 boxes because I've got 2 copies of that, but I'll just put one out. Bonestone and Earthflesh, the Mystic Dream Tarot, which I got about a year ago. The Da Vinci Enigma Tarot, Line Strider and Other Kin. And then the Gilded Tarot. Forest of Enchantment, Dark Woods kind of go together with the Fairy Realms again, so the Hidden Realm there. And then these ones, again, they're not really sets with the exception of these 2, but they're the ones that show tarot from kind of like different perspectives. So the In-Between Tarot, which I showed as a deck of the day in the week, Tarot of the New Vision, the Vice Versa Tarot, which is the one that's double-sided, and then the Before and the After Tarot. And that's it, that takes us to the edge. This is a sturdy one again, so it's not going to topple. That's the top shelf sorted. Now, for the rest of it. It will look great when it's done. It'll look great when it's done. Okay, so I have a free cubby. Out of the 25, I have one free. Now, this kinda is in shot if I'm doing videos and I'm in this position. Ignore all the mess on the desk, that's my journal and cleaning stuff. My microphone's here, so this is where I sit. So that's kind of in shot. You never see these, you'll definitely not see those, but you never really see the top row either. You kind of see it from that position where I'm sat. So, what goes in that little cubicle? I want something exciting. Maybe I'll bring the Tindex down one. Baba Studios is there. Maybe I'll bring the Tindex and move Baba across. Oh, this is like one of those games, you know, move that square to that square to that square. What have I started? Okay, so I've been at this an hour now. The bottom row is done. They're at least tidy and stacked. There's a bit of a gap there. I could pull them forward on this second cubicle. But I've been at this an hour and half an hour has been the bottom shelf. So another half an hour, 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, although those two shouldn't need more. That one certainly needs clear. The top ones won't be so bad. It just needs a little bit of titivating, but yeah. Do I regret starting it? Yes, but then hopefully the end result will be worth it. All right, so second, this is kind of neat. You see the 3 pouches at the back. So they're in some kind of order or system that I would be able to find them. The difficulty is trying to get each section so that you can see all the decks. And of course, you can't. This one wasn't too bad. There's a couple of decks that I don't have boxes for that lay out. The efflorescent here sits, kind of stores better flat, because if you top it, if you put it on its side, the cards fall out. The lid isn't tight, it's quite loose. My little mini tin decks from US Games, and then bigger decks at the back. This one is the nightmare. This is the nightmare cubicle because this is lots of tuck boxes. And of course, if you start stacking them on top of each other, so I've put a few at the back that can lay flat and a few bigger boxes. If you start stacking them on top of each other, when you want one from underneath, that's when you get tarot Jenga. So they're not great because they're like 4 deep, but I can look at the tops of them and kind of work out what's what. That one didn't need a lot of tidying. Most of them are Marseille style decks. And then this side here are all my tarot collectible decks. Groovy, Tripping, Blacklight, Winter Weight, Dead Weight, all them are stored down this side. And that little pouch there has got my Magical Forest that Kelly did for me. So this section is already done, so that's my tins. So they've gone there. I've now got to work on the third lot of cubicle. That doesn't need any work because that's my Deviant Moon cubicle and that's perfect as it is. So it's a fair way to go, but we'll crack on. Royal we. Okay, so third row is now completed. What I am finding now is, whereas on the lower levels, I was like, this is making no difference whatsoever. But of course it is. These are kind of decks that I don't use as often, so they're more condensed. But at this level now, we're starting to see a bit more space where decks can breathe. Here is my Mary L collection. So I've got 4 copies. I've got the original, which is in this wooden box, and that's the one that's trimmed with titles written on. And then in this box, this beautiful box that was made with the Emperor on the front, is the gold edged first edition. And then the first I want to say first edition of the second edition, but when the second edition was released, it was on this slate grey black edged metallic edges, but they were false. So they were recalled, and then the second edition now that you get is with this silver edging, but I was lucky enough to get both. And then I've got some favourite decks like my Marshmallow Marseille, my Mesquite, Lightseers. At the back is Dark Mansion. Yeah, and then moving across here, again, more space to breathe. I can see the cards and what they are. A few of my James R. Eads, the Musterberg, Okash and Thorn. Here is my Patrick Valenza, Deviant Moon, Cubby. And then this is really space to breathe. So here, I've just been able to put all of my Nikisha decks. So the Tarat, the Blue Dog, the Rabbit Tarot, the Deluxe Rabbit Tarot behind that. And then we have the Riderless Tarot and the Badger's Forest. So that's all my Nikisha decks. One of my latest decks, which is the Tarot of Crowley. This deck, which I love. And if Anton, if you're watching this, he was asking if I'd got any Dominic Murphy decks. This is the Lost Tarot that I have. My business cards, playing Marseille, and a few others stacked. So, 2 more rows to go. Okay, so my washing machine was on a really loud spin cycle when I got to the second to the top. So I did the top 2 together rather than wait for that spin cycle to finish. I'm really pleased. I know you guys looking at this from the start of the video will probably think, well, what's the difference? Trust me, there is a huge amount of difference. And as I got to the top, I could really see that the decks were starting to be able to breathe. They're not all crammed in, higgledy-piggledy, balancing. I can see there's all my Baba Studios decks, from the Deluxe Alice, the Black and White Deluxe Mythical Creatures, and then we've got Bohemian Gothic, Victorian Romantic, we have Fairy Tale Mythical Creatures, Fantastic Menagerie, Prague. They're all there, and there's some bigger boxes at the back. Here I've got some of my favourites that I've had boxes made for, some Robert M. Place decks. This is a lot more tidier, and I could probably fit a couple of bigger boxes at the back. This one has some latest ones like Infernal Tarot. I've got the Pulp Tarot there, the Heart Spun Tarot, a few favourites in tins and boxes. And then there's loads of space for this one. I could probably get another 10 or so decks in this one. You know, and I've not stopped buying, so it's great that there's just space now. These are my Urban Tarot, so the indie Urban in the bag, the box for it. and then the mass produced. I've got my crystal skull, and the one behind it is the prototype crystal skull. Raincoast, mini Raincoast, Usi Brute, painted tarot. And then up at the top, I haven't had to change a lot of these other than allow them to breathe. I've still left my Ness there. But again, you know, a couple of favourites: True Black, Divine Masculine, some Bertie decks. Here I'm in Neo Riders. Again, space to breathe, no things in bags shoved between. My Rider-Waite-Smith collection, although there are a couple of other Rider-Waite-Smith type decks dotted around, but in the main, these are like, you know, old ones. You can see at the back the 3 different 80 weight premium edition. So the large, this one actually, the middle one, is the mini, but it was in 2 halves, so it makes the box look a bit bigger. And then the standard, and then I've got El Meneghello, and we've already talked about the ones across the top. So I think I could probably get maybe another 50 decks on this before I need to think about alternative storage solutions. I'm not in any rush, as many of you know. I only buy now decks that I think can complement my collection or bring something new completely, with the exception of Rider-Waite-Smith decks. But that's it. So if you want to know what 500 plus decks look like on a shelving unit, this is it. I suppose the only thing to mention is here there are a few bags that I had shoved in between, which I've taken out. I'm going to put them into a basket under a table. I know what's in all of them. The boxes are on the shelves anyway, so. And then these are all the little trinclements that were shoved on the shelves in between the decks and things. There's all sorts of crystals and spirals and spheres, and yeah, so they were all kind of in between the decks, which I've taken off. I've decluttered, so it's a trinclement free zone now. The place looks like a bomb's hit it. I've got some tidying to do and some hoovering, because cleaning this down has created some little dust bunnies as well. Nothing major, but it smells divine in here. It smells of that beautiful, beautiful smell when you cleanse and you clean, especially using something like Florida water. So anyway, thank you for watching, guys. I guess this could be Tarot Shelf 2021. You've more or less seen everything that's here, except for those down there. There's just there's too many decks to list and go through. But yeah, thank you for watching, and until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.